Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Oh man.
Hi. How's it
Hi.
going?
Hey.
It's going.
Hey,
How's it
guys. How's it
going?
going?
It's going pretty well. Now, finally.
Hey, TTV Channel presents.
What are we
TTV
presenting?
Channel presents.
Hey, everybody. We are you're currently watching a director's commentary on Biocraft Chronicles with the three core people involved with the production.
Hello.
I'm Var.
No, I'm LJ.
Yeah, that's LJ. I'm Ven.
Yeah. So,
we did a lot.
I was hoping that you would introduce it, LJ, but you took
Well,
too long.
I was going to. As I was introducing it, you guys started talking.
Yeah,
gonna take
LJ, you have a reputation of taking too long. What took this movie so long?
Yeah, you got a point.
Yeah, but no. Yeah, no, I'm LJ. I'm the director of Biocraft Chronicles. I can say that
And
now.
I'm Var. I'm the director of this, whatever this is.
Thank you.
I'm Ven. I did a lot of
Stuff.
background work.
You did.
I did so much stuff.
You're the director of music.
I'm the director of music
The director
slash
of Jim.
editor slash filmer,
So
and etc.
if anyone's watching this right now and they weren't aware of the context of Biocraft and its release, it was actually released as an April Fool's Day prank. For the week, prior to its release, we had acted like it was a prank that wasn't going to come out, only for it to actually come out on April Fool's.
We came up with a little marketing ploy that involved a bunch of interviews, quote unquote, promoting the release of the movie, which would guaranteed come out April 1st, and it got
Absolutely.
the response that we expected. We wanted people to believe that it was a prank, and we got a lot of people
Dude, people
doubting
fell for that
the
so
release.
hard.
Yeah, it
It's
worked.
great.
It worked pretty well, especially what we did here.
Yeah.
A little fake out with the.
I came up with the idea to have like this little fake out video at the start of the premiere stream, to kind of emphasize that idea. So and then it kind of cuts out at the end. There's some glitches, and you kind of see brief glimpses of Biocraft, and it was supposed to give the audience kind of like hope, like wait, what's that? I thought this was it. I thought this was the prank.
And that's exactly the response we got. You can see in the chat, people are like, "What? What's happening? We've been duped."
And then boom, movie. Yeah.
Ah.
No, it was excellent. It's like the way it started out was Ven was really rallying the troops. It's like, hey, let's just do Biocraft in like February, and we're like, you know what? Forget it. Let's just do Biocraft, and we
Yeah,
started.
we never did this. We could do it now.
Yeah.
All right,
Why not?
LJ, write a script in like 3 days. We'll get this movie done within a month.
It took
then
me
it
a little
happened.
longer than 3 days, but
Yeah, it
5
took
days
you
isn't
4,
bad.
but
No.
that's still 4, 5 tops.
Yeah.
Either way, it was still impressive.
Yeah, it was a very, very short turnaround, but the script got done, showed it to everyone, had some changes made, so in about a week, it was fully done.
And this twist that you guys came up with, adding it to be more of like a meta sort of kind of story, was a pretty clever idea, I felt.
Right.
The initial Biocraft was always meant to be sort of a comedy-ish video. It was always meant to be like a comedic retelling of the O1 story that wasn't going to take itself seriously. But the idea of adding this meta element to it, where everybody's aware they're playing Minecraft, was something that was introduced in the new version of the script for this film.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a really good idea.
And it's actually the only part of the script that made it from conception to completion basically untouched. Like, it was the
Right.
one thing, because when I wrote it, I wanted to set the tone for the project. I didn't want it to be as serious as what the original Biocraft ended up being, which was this almost beat-for-beat retelling of everything released for 2001. So I wanted it to be special and really unique and have this fun catch. And that's what ended up happening, and it really set.
That's what I
set
was
the pace.
hoping you would do too, because I remember I said, "LJ, you know the story so well. You don't even need to read it. You know it by heart. So like, just condense it in a way that you'd be explaining it to somebody, And you did. Not only did you do that, you came up with this whole like meta story about 6 gamers going onto a Minecraft server, and it worked out so well. I
It
I
did.
love it so much.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy with it, and obviously we did the table read, and it worked out really well. Usually, like, we do, when we have projects that we write and want to do, we do a table read, and that's usually as far as things get outside of a few test videos after that. But this was the momentum on this entire project was just so successful. It was one thing after the other, and it just kept on building up like a snowball going down a hill.
Mm-hmm.
So that really helped. So Takua was just on screen, like, obviously now we got the
These guys are such dorks.
I love. Okay, so almost all the puppeteers are either TTV members or TTV patrons.
Or patrons, yeah.
The patrons did such an absolutely phenomenal job. This would not have happened without their help. Absolutely wonderful.
That my favorite aspect of it was that not only did they help the production, but they kept the secret the whole time too.
I
About the
know.
April Fool's joke. It was really good.
Yeah.
Look at that chat. Everyone's freaking out. There's some people that are saying like, "What?" Like they're like screaming in the chat.
They actually made it.
Nice April Fool's joke, guys. Bring back Roblox. But yeah, no, everyone did a wonderful job. The secret was completely kept. What I wanted to say on the voice side of things. So Keeney is Vakama, and he was a very early cast. But the one cast choice that I really, really wanted was Takua. And Takua is voiced by A.T. And I had to have him as Takua. There wouldn't have been anyone else at all that we knew at the time that would have done a better job than A.T. as Takua. And I remember asking him, like,
you
hey...
guys suggested A.T. being Takua, and immediately I was on board.
Yeah.
I definitely felt like he had the right voice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I asked him, I was like, hey, listen, because he's
Great
kind of...
moment right here.
Oh, the music's so good.
Very good music.
Oh, thank you.
But I asked,
I love these
hey,
these like just scenic shots here of the choreo. It's very nice.
the B-roll.
It is kind of funny to see the Matoran just kind of run around in circles though.
Well, those are always the hardest ones to do with, like, the ambient Matoran. Just kind of walking around.
That was one of the more stressful parts about filming, was making sure we had enough people to make the world feel alive.
Yeah.
And not just like, oh, it's a couple guys recording. That's it.
Yeah. No, that was definitely the hardest part, because sometimes we just wouldn't be able to film because we didn't have enough people. But it worked out. We made do, and you'll see that, as we go along. But
Someone commented that they heard my voice in this scene. I'm not in this scene at all.
This music cue here is so good. It's like the music from Mask of Light being played by, what is that, like a banjo or something?
Yeah, it's like a little stringy and
yeah. It sounds really good.
It's
It
basically
definitely
like
conveys that
it's
comedy.
a cello.
Yeah.
Just, being plucked.
the tree in the background. Every time you saw this bar, it always drove me nuts.
I hated the stupid tree. I don't understand why we didn't fix this.
No, it had to be that way. That was the tree that Tahu broke.
Oh!
Yeah. That wasn't a thing that needed to be fixed. I think someone even fixed it. Yeah, someone fixed it.
Wait, you really didn't notice that?
I didn't realize that. Yeah, because every time I pointed it out, someone kept saying, like, continuity. And I'm like, what do you mean continuity? Just fix it and then redo the scenes so that it's fixed in all scenes. But now I get it. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, it looks weird because it's a floating tree. It's like, that doesn't look right.
Floating tree.
Yeah. It bothers me.
Yeah, no, it had to be that way.
That's the point. It's Minecraft. You can have floating
trees. This scene, we filmed the scene in our original cut of Biocraft from years ago.
Oh, no.
And God, is it unwatchable.
Oh, man. The original version of this scene is so bad.
I haven't watched it in 5 years.
I throw my headphones across the room every time I look.
We got to release it at some point. But we have a rough cut of the first 30 minutes of the film, as it was in 2013 or whatever, whenever it was made. I'm in 2012, actually.
Yeah, I watched that almost immediately after we put this movie out, and
it's so bad.
So glad that we did this instead.
Yeah, it's a good thing we didn't release it.
The old one was so bad.
It was awful.
Dude, So, a fun fact, that's Haley doing both of those voices,
Mhm.
and she absolutely killed it with as few lines as she had.
Yep.
Yeah,
Loved her voice acting in this movie.
she did a phenomenal
Messo's
job.
girlfriend Haley, just to clarify.
Just
Oh
clarify.
yeah,
Absolutely.
obviously, yeah. Always
Um,
clarify that.
It is interesting though because Kotu, which is the Matoran that Nokama was talking to, was originally voiced by Dead Matoro, and the only reason we didn't end up going with the audio is because the quality was not usable for the project. Because otherwise, she would have been cast in that position.
Yeah, she was like the only person with a microphone that just sounded like she was talking through a tube.
Yeah. So she did a really good job. It's just we
It
ended
stood
up
out
going
too
with
much
Haley.
in the original cut.
It
Yeah.
was so bad.
Yeah. But
You know, I love that somebody in the comments caught the Tiri Bamba thing.
yeah.
Would catch that.
Yeah, so it was Tiri Bamba who actually
Sunk to the hut.
the hut. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to imagine he went over it with like World Edit and just kind of flattened the surface. Used one of those tools to flatten the surface of a hut.
We got a lot of comments from people asking why the animated fight scenes were cut out of the movie.
Yes.
Right, yeah, like the Tarkava fight.
Yeah. Right now, 10 out of 10 fight choreography. The fight scenes were always something that was out of place with the film. The original concept of Biocraft, like I mentioned before, was always to be a comedic retelling. But then when we released those teaser trailers in the theatrical trailer, we got a lot of influx of people coming into our channel to watch them, and I think it got bigger than we ever expected it to get.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I think that teaser kind of conveyed more of a serious movie, and that's kind of the feeling that a lot of commenters got, and the fact, or once they learned that it was supposed to be a comedy, we saw a lot of dissenting, comments saying like they're no longer interested in it. So we kind of shifted focus from a comedy to more of a serious film. And that's when the fight scenes were added.
Mm-hmm.
But since we went back to the original direction of it being comedy, the fight scenes really didn't fit anymore.
Yeah, and it was not only that, but it was also a matter of when I was writing certain fights, like you'll see it several different times.
This is a really good gag.
I'm so happy this one turned out.
So I think it was me that had this idea actually, to add the spears. Originally, the Gamatoran were supposed to just chase Takua out.
This is
That
correct.
scene was so fun to film.
And
That
I was
was
like, but wait a
my favorite
Yeah.
time. I was
I was like,
laughing
wait a minute.
hard.
What if we had them all chuck spears at him as he's running? And we ended up killing Takua so many times trying to get this scene filmed.
Oh gosh, it is
I had
almost
so many like the shots that I came up with for that just came instantly too. I was like, I know exactly how this needs to be framed. Like this is too perfect.
it worked out really, really well. But yeah, no, the fight scenes ended up getting cut, and I think that worked out very well for this.
Yeah,
Because it also saved us like a ton of time on having to animate them, having to tweak them, perfect them, etc., etc. And it's funnier. They're a lot more tonally consistent.
Yeah. And I feel like it adds a bit more charm to the film too, to use the assets available to us in the game. Like going out of the game
just keeping
sphere
it
to
simple.
do something else is
Yeah.
starts to take away from that charm aspect.
Exactly, and it's like the idea of Biocraft is it's kind of like an RPG. It's just a bunch of people role playing, and so that's why you have the texture pack, the skins, the weapons, the tools like Opaka here. Ven, you killed it on that shield. It's a wonderful shield. And
I told you it could get
yep,
done.
you are totally right. You blew me away, honestly. But it's like you still see some normal Minecraft stuff, so you still realize it's still in the game.
Yeah.
And I was very adamant. I wanted to keep the assets, the resources we used, as vanilla as possible, so that it has that atmosphere, that feeling, that charm. And we only ended up using one mod in the entire film.
And
it
that
was
was just a camera mod, just to get some better shots. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like this, actually.
Though I believe that wasn't actually filmed using the camera mod.
Yeah. But yeah,
that
so,
Nice little
I
joke.
think we used a controller mod too to enable us to use the controller on on
Yeah,
the PC
yeah.
version of Minecraft. That way
Yeah.
we can just use the stick to kind of get a smooth panning shot.
Yeah, though that was more of a computer mod than it was specific to Minecraft.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's true. So we didn't necessarily mod the game too much. We came up with our own little tricks.
Yeah.
That little fourth wall break was pointing out how long it actually took to make the film.
To
5
make,
years
to make the map.
to make the map. Ah,
Yeah.
5 years to make the map. 8 years to make the film.
The first Toa scene. This is one of the ones that was like, okay, this has to work. The Toa have to work well together. And actually, you added a lot of dialogue to the scene, Ven, to kind of help flesh out their character and interaction, which I thought worked out very well.
Yeah.
I'm very
There
proud
was
of
a-
it.
There was a lot of like going through the script and making sure like there was focus being evenly split between Takua and the Toa. Make sure everybody had their moment to shine. I think it ended up coming out pretty well.
Yeah. And of course, everyone comments that the Toa voices are also really
Fitting, yeah.
They very fitting. They work very well, and I agree, especially Gali, Pohatsu, and Kopaka.
God, dude, Lena's voice here for Gali is so good.
She did
Lena-
really
She has a-
Lena is a perfect Gali. I love her as Gali.
She has a really unique like quality to her voice that makes it really nice to listen to.
Yeah.
It really fits the character very well.
We should address this scene. So,
Lena's Gali is like my ASMR, dude. I could go to sleep to it.
oh my gosh. So this scene went through a lot of different changes. This little cutaway gag. And I made one final change to it that ended up being a bit controversial internally. Ven had added him going "ah" as he fell, and I took that out because originally it was more of a silent moment, and that ended up being not a very popular decision.
Yeah, no, the rest of us thought it was funnier with the scream.
Yeah, and I can understand why.
All the Fs.
See ya, Onua. Oh man, Pride Daddy Matau. So,
Nice callback to our script read of the Bionicle Revolution script.
which this got a lot of comparisons to that. Mainly that this was a very non-controversial film, and that it happened. More importantly, one day it'd be
Oh,
actually fun to
right, yeah.
release like similar. Instead of just leaking the script like Bionicle Revolution, we should just release the script properly to let everyone kind of see.
Well, yeah, I
What
think we should
changed?
release the table read, and we can have the script in the description.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah. When we were working on the voices for certain characters, I was thinking, all right, how do I want them to sound? And I really wanted Ven to do Pride Daddy from the script read for Matau. And gosh dang it, Ven, like
It
most
worked
things,
so well.
you killed it. It was so freaking funny.
Dude, I love how people in the comments actually caught that too from Bionicle Revolution.
It was
They were like,
popular.
oh, it's Pride Daddy, it's Pride Daddy. And I'm like, oh man, a lot more people liked that than I thought.
A
Yeah,
lot of people also picked up how Nuju's microphone is like cutting out and stuff.
yeah. So
So-
that was actually a suggestion by Lena, because when we were going over her lines for Gali, she had noticed that Nuju part and read through the script and noticed that and suggested, well, he should be cutting out, lagging, staticky. I was like, that's a really great idea, because before that we didn't really have a hook for Nuju for his voice. So that was totally her idea. It was great.
It works really well. I showed this movie to my friends a little bit after we released it, and one of them could not stop laughing at the Nuju Nuju lines. It had him rolling.
Yeah. Ven, let's talk a little bit about your Onua voice, because that was one of the last.
Oh man,
That was one of the last major
one
changes
of the
we
last
made.
little, well, not little, one of the last big hurdles we had to get over.
Yeah,
Settling on Onua's voice.
because originally you went the route I usually do for Liwa, because I feel Liwa's voice should sound, and I understand this is a little conceited, a lot conceited. I think it should sound like mine, but you also went that for Onua. But late into the game, as we were about to wrap things up,
Dude, we were so close.
the decision was made to have you re-record all of your Onua lines from
Yeah.
scratch.
Yeah, it just it sounded too much like, oh, it's just Vin.
Yeah.
And not
Right.
like it's Anua.
And it was
So
funny because, again, it was so late into the game. We were so close to getting the movie done, and then we were showing a rough cut of the movie to Var and Meso, and they both agreed that the Onua voice wasn't working. And it was like, oh my gosh, all right, let's re-record everything. Let's figure out a new voice. But needless to say, personally, I think the new voice worked out much better.
And way
I
better.
think you guys would agree.
Yeah.
It was
So
wonderful.
it was worth it.
Yeah. And of course, AT is Takua. Again, I wouldn't have anyone else. And I even asked him, I was like, hey, AT, what will it take? 'Cause he's a little bit of a shy guy. Like, he's not in a lot of podcasts. So, asking him to be the main character of
I
this
know he
movie-
really did not want to do it.
Yeah, he
And
was,
then
he's
that-
hesitant, understandably.
And that was part of the joke of his original like interview video, that teaser, is
Mhm.
that he was like super conceited and like all about being like the main character and
Yeah.
stuff. This is the exact opposite of how he really is.
Yeah. And when eventually it came time, he's like, well, what's it going to take, AT, for you to be Takua? And he said, you know what, just play a few games of Apex with me today. Deal. And the rest worked out beautifully.
So that montage we had a little bit ago was great. I love that the Tahu part especially
Oh, gosh,
because it
that
was
worked out so
completely improvised. It was so funny. The
Yeah.
moment he gets hit with the gravel, and I remember we all just erupted in laughter.
It was amazing.
It's one of the scenes I edited in the film. It was a lot of fun editing this one.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we all kind of split up editing responsibilities for certain scenes.
Yeah, so editing was split up between Var, LJ, and myself. We all assigned ourselves different scenes to work on, multiple scenes. Needless to say, that went really well.
A
That
wise
made things
choice.
way more
Yeah,
efficient.
it got done much faster that way.
Yeah, because before we just had a single editor, and that was Var. And then it
Okay.
switched to somebody else who, well, basically just completely wrecked the visual, like all the footage. So
Yeah.
that went nowhere. But divvying it up, because it's like 22 different scenes. Oh, this is fun. There are a few Easter eggs you can see in Takua's inventory bar.
This is actually another suggestion I had made. It
Yes.
was because originally before there wasn't a cutaway. It was just Takua saying that his food bar or his hunger bar is running low. And I made the suggestion: why don't we add like a cutaway where we actually see the hunger bar? And when we do that, we can even add some little Easter eggs in the in his inventory.
Yeah.
Wait, you want to explain those Easter eggs?
Yeah, a few of them are pretty straightforward things. You have a disc, like just a bamboo disc that the Tahunga use. You have a pen and quill, because, you know, he's the chronicler, he's writing everything down. You have, like, a painting to illustrate the Monog, like, TV thingy, so you can see the cutscenes. And then you have a gold Miru on a head, and then you have a skull. And that's a reference to Meso and I's playthrough, Monog with Meso, of the game. And then at the very end, you have seeds to feed the bird that comes in throughout the game. So it's a fun little Easter egg to people who are familiar with Monog with Meso, and there are a few of them in this. So I think it worked out very well.
So someone commented in this scene, "This is so fun to watch. Sadly, I bet the people who made this don't even like the game." And I'm just like, what? If we didn't like the game, we wouldn't have bothered at all.
We've been playing it almost since its release. It's
Unironically.
unironically,
mind
it's
you.
like a staple of this group.
Yeah, this is one of those games where because we're a big group of friends. You know,
It's weird to not like Minecraft to me.
Right?
It's such a just like, I don't know, innocent game.
Yeah.
Like there's not really anything controversial about it. So like why
It's a
dislike
simple
it?
game, and it's easy to get your friends together to play because there's practically no limit to how many players you can have on all at once.
This cut is perfect. I loved this idea.
I was so happy this turned out. Okay, so Ven, that's possibly my favorite voice in the movie. Your delivery is amazing. And
It's
actually,
disgusting. I love it.
yeah, the inclusion of Akmu, the inclusion of Akmu was a choice I had made to save us the trouble of having those scenes have mobs in them. So, like, when you have Akmu where the Nuijaga should be, and Pohatu runs in, it's like, all right, it's time for the Pohatu versus Nuijaga cutscene. Nope, it's just Akmu.
Yeah. Using mobs is actually a big pain in the butt. We have one scene briefly after this in Kokoro with the time traveling Waka, and that was awful to get filmed.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
We were able to kind of use those like coding blocks that are in the game.
Yeah. AT had set it up really well so that we had the the command blocks.
The command blocks.
And again,
that was like, able to sort of phase LJ into the mob so that he can control him, but even still, it was really spazzy and hard to work with.
Yeah, because the collision of the mob. So what AT had done, he'd set up 2 blocks. One to turn a player invisible, so they're not seen, and the other to teleport a mob consistently to the invisible player. So it wasn't stuck to you, it was just constantly being teleported to you over and over and over and over and over again. Super
now, I do
fast.
want to mention that this is partially the reason why we didn't want to bother with any mods. It's like, yes, there probably was a mod out there that could have helped us do this easier. The thing is, if we were going to set up mods, we needed to make sure everybody that was going to be there for filming had to set up those mods. And that would have been just another hurdle to go through. It's
just
like,
a lot of trouble for not much.
Yeah.
It was already enough trouble trying to get everybody on the same version of Minecraft and to get the right skins and stuff. So we really did not want to make it any more complicated than it already was.
Yeah, it would have been rough. Okay, best scene of the movie.
Everybody's favorite scene here.
This is my favorite scene. I absolutely love this.
I'm very glad I opted to make Midak the first Matoran you see, because even
I'm glad you did that too.
Among the Onu Matoran, he also... So it was unintentional that he's the first Onu Matoran Takua meets in the game. I hadn't made that connection when I chose Midak. I just made that I just chose Midak because he's an odd one out amongst the Onu Matoran. Because in the game, he likes the sun. So, okay, this is my favorite part of this scene.
This was so perfectly filmed. The Matoran jumping down from the sky with that sound effect. I love it, dude.
Dude, even I was the one editing this scene. I couldn't stop laughing through the process. Like, as I was arranging it and putting the music together for it.
Yeah, and then I went over it after the fact and added a couple cuts here. I made some suggestions.
Yeah, dude, the cuts you did are so good.
Yeah, because you made the suggestions, but you said it should just have some alternate cuts. So I went and I just made a bunch of different scenarios up, and that's what ended up being put in.
Yeah, so I love Winua so much.
Your audio work on this, by the way, really makes this.
Yeah, having it fade off and go to the side and stuff, yeah.
Or do you wish to feel the heat and fear of
I thought, I really, for Onua, because
just up
Wenua. So the reason a lot of people asked why are the Onu Matoran so weird, in the original Biocraft, either Envy or Kini, they fight over which one it is. During the original filming, were puppeteering. They were puppeteering Wenua, and they made Onua just kind of creepily crouch in the background of certain shots, and so we made the joke it's creeping Wenua.
At the time, I was the one filming it, so I remember it being Kini, but like there was just a scene where like Wenua wasn't in the scene, obviously, but we were filming in Onukoro, and just like as we're filming the scene in the background, I briefly see Wenua, who was being controlled by either Kini or Mange, kind of like poke his head around the corner. I was like, oh my god, it looks like Wenua, please stop creeping in the background of our shot. And it just became a meme about like creeping Wenua. So anytime we went to film, Wenua was always there creeping around the shots.
We went from an inside joke to something we actually wanted to throw into the original movie. And then LJ had this amazing idea later.
We would film in different locations. Like we would be in the Kini Nui, and it would be a scene completely unrelated, and then you could see Wenua in the back.
Yeah, I decided, you know what? every group of characters, every group of gamers on the island are different somehow. So I'm just going to
Right.
make all of the
Right.
Onimatoran who live in a cave, underground, in perpetual darkness, super freaking creepy and unnerving.
This is
all
one of my
them.
favorite shots right here, by the way.
Oh, this was fun to record.
This the framing of these shots, the sequence of events, is really good.
Ven killed it. He did the footage on this.
Especially when the fire goes out and the Onimatoran are there.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
You guys had to like time that with the fire, right?
Yep.
You had to make sure that the fire went out at the right time.
Yep. Yep. It
Yep.
was it was a lot of waiting and gauging how long the fire would last. Takuma's voice as Taipu ended up being kind of a fan favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like
That
a
was
little following.
that
of
was
its
kind
own.
of that was kind of unexpected. I'll be honest. Not because it was a bad voice. I love the voice. I'm surprised that this many people.
Taifu as a character
really
just
liked
didn't seem
it.
like a character that was going to leave an impact, but Takua's
Yeah,
voice
yeah,
made
exactly.
that character suddenly
Oh,
really
there,
awesome.
There it is.
Originally, there was actually another cut where the Matoran would back into the cave, but we decided to cut that because
Yeah.
I felt like I felt like the joke lost impact if we lingered on it too long.
Right.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think this was a good idea to just leave it as this is.
Yeah. Just a solid cut.
To further explain that Wenua thing from earlier, though, originally, when Takua's speaking with Wenua in the cave, it was basically a static shot of Wenua just talking to Takua, and obviously
Some of
being
that
creepy.
camera mod right here.
Yeah, cameraman. It's kind of being creepy, but I was like, you know what? What if he was more theatrical? What if he was more like crazy about the whole situation? He's moving around, he's turning around and stuff, and LJ took that and came up with all the different scenarios of him like kind of teleporting around. And we just cut that together, and it worked out so beautifully.
Yeah.
Wenua ended up being so weird.
Like more so than everyone else is wonderful. Okay, so this is a fun little fact. So Purple is voicing Tamaru here, and originally Ven voiced Tamaru, and Purple voiced Akmu.
Yep.
And I was
Oh yeah,
that was
that's
how I
right.
originally
We
had it
completely
set up.
switched roles.
And Akmu was gonna have the
You guys
same
pulled
voice.
an old Jala and Takua from Mask of Light.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. For context, originally for the Mask of Light, voice actors for Jala and Takua were cast opposite.
Opposite. Yep.
And so Akmu was just going to sound like Tamaru here. But then I gave it some thought, and it's like, all right, no, I know what voice I want Akmu to have. Ven is the best person for it, and I think Purple would do a really good job as Tamaru. And I think it worked out way better.
Dude, Purple as Tamaru never ceases to make me laugh hard. Especially listening to her her audio recordings and the parts where she like messes up her lines. That's so funny.
There are a lot of bloopers.
Hey,
and a
I'm
lot of
Tamaru.
voices.
I'm from Likoro. It's just so funny to listen to.
I'd love to do like video bloopers. Like one of our patrons, Magic Ninja, recorded all of our filming or most of our filming, but I want to do a video acting out the bloopers from the voice actors. I think
That
that'd
would
be
be fun.
funny.
That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Here's one of LJ's favorite scenes right here.
Yep. So this actually all of Likoro was easily the most cut down. Like I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
LJ's Lee Matoran bias was showing quite a lot. I feel.
Okay, come on.
Like 90%.
I don't know,
man.
I'm in the camp that thinks Likoro could have had the extension it had, and it would have been fine.
Listen.
Nah, it needed to be cut down. We spent honestly like I even now I still feel like the Lee Koro segment's a little long.
Really? No.
Yeah.
Nope.
No,
I
no
definitely
way.
don't think it's. I think it's perfectly sized now, but I don't think it's too long.
I don't know, man. But it was definitely too long before. It definitely needed to be cut down because it took up a huge portion of the original script.
Yeah.
No, it didn't take up a huge portion.
Dude, it did. I even laid out like how much time was spent with the Toa and how much time was spent with Takua and how much time was spent in Lee Koro. And Lee Koro alone like matched all the Toa scenes.
So no, I agree. It was definitely a bit long. It definitely had the most cut from it. Like an entire segment of the Matoran at the village and the Matoran flying to the
I'm so glad we didn't do like a whole fight.
yeah, right, exactly,
That
because
was
like
hilarious.
that fight is my favorite in all of Bionicle, Lewa versus Onua, and it's so iconic, and so I wanted to just completely and utterly undermine that for comedic effect, and it worked so beautifully.
More F's in the chat for that
Appearance
one.
of Akmu.
But I swear to you, I'll do this again.
I love it.
Dude, I could not handle myself recording Akmu's lines. Like, there was... it was such a disgusting voice to muster.
The scream that you end up doing at the end is the greatest piece of audio in this entire movie.
Yep, handedly.
I was laughing so hard at how nasty it sounded. I really could not handle myself.
This is actually, by the way, the only segment that features music Ven did not make, and Ven, you were totally welcome to, but I think you opted against trying to do better than this.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to touch this scene with the music.
It's really nostalgic because like you have all
nostalgic,
the Lima Torn kind of playing the music that you recognize.
And mostly because I'm like, this is LJ's movie. Lee Coro's his place. This is gonna have the special place in his heart. I'm gonna leave it as is.
Oh, Ven, you're a good friend.
Also, the Lewa versus Onua fight music is a little hard to like to remix.
That is fair. Yeah.
I tried and I was like, nope, it's not right. We gotta leave it.
Yeah.
That clip of audio of Mattel shouting, "All right, move the party over," was actually a re-recording.
Yeah, it was
We
an
added
addition.
later in the
Yeah.
fact. Yeah.
It was an addition.
Because
Yeah.
originally he didn't say anything, and it was you're supposed to convey what's happening visually, but it didn't work as well. And then I don't remember which one of you made the suggestion to add that.
I believe that was me.
I think it was you, but I think it worked out very well.
I think it was me.
Oh yeah, well you know what? I think it was me. So now what?
Well, it was all of us.
There.
That's why we're here, right?
I mean, this is my movie.
This is my movie. What are you
This is
talking about?
our movie.
What are you on? What's this hour?
Keeney showing up in the chat. Oh look, it's a real move.
Movie. So there aren't actually a whole lot of scenes with the Toa interacting with each other, but when they do, I feel it does work well. Thankfully, like that had to that.
They also they make up a lot of time in the end final act too.
Yeah.
We get a lot of time spent with them there.
This scene, that slide over was really annoying to get right.
No, you always brought it up too. Like, I can't get over it. I have PTSD from that slide.
It worked out really well. I'm super happy.
It did.
So let's talk about another voice actor that I was super stoked to have here. He's a friend
Meerkat?
of mine. Well, okay, most of everyone in this is a friend of mine, but Pohatu, Meerkat.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about him earlier because I love his voice.
He
Pohatu.
nailed it as Pohatu. And then he was the one that he kind of asked you if he could be Pohatu, right?
No. So what?
Oh, okay.
So I know Mir because I hung out with him for about a week in Utah because we were at another mutual friend's house, Andre Hurley, and I met him there. We got along great. He's such a good guy, and he mentioned he really wanted to try and do what I've done in the community. So I voice a lot of different Lewa roles because I want to do that. And he was like, I want to do what you do, but for Pohatu. And I was like, you know what? Interesting. I'm gonna make a mental note of that. And then when it came time to cast Pohatu, we've never had an individual Pohatu. It's always been somebody who already voices pre-existing Toa.
Yeah.
Like the latest one, it was me doing a poor country accent. And so when it
Yeah,
came
we
time,
never had a good voice for him.
I asked Amir, I was like, hey, do you want to be Pohatu in this? Lo and behold, Biocraft is how he found out about TTV. And he was like, abso-freaking-lutely. And he killed it. He did such an amazing job.
Dude, he
amazing.
killed it.
He was so
killed
much
it
fun.
in one punch.
Yeah, Meerkat is Pohatu.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. He did
I
such a
can't
great
look
job.
at my Pohatu sets
And not
without
hear
thinking of
his voice.
Meerkat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. His voice represents Pohatu more than the freaking official voice did in the movies.
Yeah.
I feel it's so much more fitting. I love it.
Yeah, he did a wonderful job. So, Mir, if you're listening to this, consider that mission accomplished.
Yeah, man. Great Batu.
Yeah.
So someone in the live chat commented a little bit earlier, this is what I imagined Biocraft would be like, and that made me happy just to reread that. So like, oh, sweet. We did it right, fellas.
It worked out. But Keeney's narrating was also really good. Keeney as Vakama was also someone I was really happy to
Keeney
have.
was one of those voice actors that was able to just pull out the perfect take the first try.
Yes.
Yeah,
Basically all
like
of his
literally
lines.
When I was editing all of his audio, he basically had a one take for all of his lines. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it made editing so much easier for him, I'm sure.
It did. It really did.
This scene. So this scene actually has a visual issue.
Another one I edited.
Yeah. So it has a bit of a problem for every single instance except for the final iteration that was uploaded on YouTube that we couldn't figure out for the longest time. Like, anytime we saw it in Premiere, it would look fine, but then it would just cut. But what was supposed to happen was the final edition, it was supposed to mimic Monog, where it was like a black screen, zoom, black screen, zoom.
You can actually compare this version that you're watching on the director's commentary to the one that was fully released to see what we're talking about here. But it was a really weird glitch for sure.
Yeah,
it was very annoying to get fixed, especially when
one
we were
of
in
many
crunch
weird
time trying
glitches
to get
that
the film
Premiere-
out.
Yeah, I think it was possibly the last edit to the entire movie that
So
made it in.
Motoro here is actually voiced by Kazapar,
Yes.
who is the who helped make some of our music for TTV channel. He's the one that helped with the intro, him and Zeros that you see in front of every single video.
And the outro.
They're really great guys, and the outro, yeah,
Yeah,
really talented guy.
This part is.
I was really happy we were able to involve Kaz and Zeros in the production of the film.
yeah.
'Cause they've been kind of
Yeah, we
they've been
had
like sort of background members of TTV for the longest time, kind of helping here and there with small little things, and it's great to get them involved in stuff.
Yeah, they're such great guys. Legitimately, they're some of the nicest, most patient people that I know.
Honestly, yeah. We don't deserve them.
Sincerely, they are unbelievably wonderful people. And
Time
Kaz,
traveling Milwaukee scene, obviously calling back to Minagwa Meso. Let's play.
one of the oldest first Let's Plays you guys put out and finished.
yep,
Very awesome. A lot of people caught that too, which is great.
yeah, because I was afraid it's like that's the only joke in the movie that doesn't have a root in either Minecraft
Bionicle.
or Bionicle.
Yeah, that was a straight
Yeah.
up TTV inside joke, and some of our older fans definitely caught that, which was really nice to see, just because it's like, wow, people have followed us for this long.
Well, it's funny because it also works without the need of the context of Minagwa Meso, because the joke is that the Milwaukee is going to kill him 7 years early. So Bionicle
Right.
fans would be able
It's
to
like a
kinda
Bionicle
understand it.
meta.
Yeah.
Joke, yeah.
Kaz was also another one that didn't do a whole lot of retakes. His voice was pretty much great. His delivery worked very well.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love the
it-
way he said that last part too. Is like you have to find other players that play unusual games. I was like, wow, that's a great sneak diss.
Kaz is one of those people that it's just like, we need someone to voice Motoro. Hey, you know what, Kaz? Why don't you try? Because it seems like your voice might be good for it. He was like, okay. Literally the first attempt he made, we were like, yep, you're Motoro.
Yep. Originally, I tried to cast a patron by the name of Ulti, and the audio quality, similar to Dead Motoro, just wasn't working. And then Kaz came in and it's like, oh my gosh, you're Motoro. Takuma's near you.
Little
The
Kaz.
piano.
Voice is so
The
funny.
piano was so good.
I love it.
The musical cues really helped with a lot of the comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie's weird without any sounds or music.
Yeah,
It's
because
slow.
for the while there, we were watching the film without any music because the music was still being worked on.
Yeah.
So you would see like certain scenes that were kind of in rough cut state, and you couldn't really get a good grasp of how well paced it was without any music.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The music really adds life to the film for sure.
Mhm.
Music is super important in any movie. That's
Yeah.
what I've learned. just from watching movies, taking classes. It's like music is almost as essential
One of
to a
Messo's
film
2 lines.
as the footage.
So, Messo's first Kapura line is actually a reference to the fact that he had a much larger role in the original Biocraft. Like, his Kapura in this was cut down significantly.
Yeah.
And so in the movies, like, we're almost done with this movie, and this is the first time I've spoken. Like, yeah, I kind of felt bad because it wasn't intentional. It's just how it ended up working. A lot of the Chroniclers Company ended up getting smaller roles. But it's like,
I like their small roles though. I really like this little.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just about. It was a need of trying to figure out what was more important versus what could be cut down. Because in the original one, there was definitely a conflict of like time management. The original movie probably would have been like 4 hours long, honestly.
yeah.
Yeah. Because Monog and the way that the original O1 story was told was stretched out so much. It was practically like you're reading a book, and as everybody is familiar, book adaptations can be pretty tricky. Like you always have to find that balance of who to focus on.
You guys better do as good a job as I would. This scene, okay, so this is a very simple scene.
This scene
But this
makes
took an
me
annoying.
angry.
It took an annoying amount of time to do. Also, it took a lot of people to do because on screen right now you have about 13 individual people, and then you have a 14th filming. So it took a lot of people. This right here is what took the most amount of time because sometimes the other toe would suck up some of the blocks. Sometimes they wouldn't suck them up at all. Sometimes it just was a
Getting the
mess.
blocks
we
to the right
wanted to
person
make
was
sure-
really hard.
Yeah.
That every Toa except for Tahu and Liwa picked up 2 iron blocks, exactly just 2, and then Tahu and Liwa would only pick up 1 pumpkin
Yeah.
each.
So that continuity when they later build the golems was kept.
Yeah. And the golems, so
That was so hard to do.
Yeah, I had the golems planned, basically from word go, but I didn't know how the Toa were going to pull it off. And then you made the suggestion, so this was a later change to the script. You had the suggestion to make it so that every time Takua was at a Koro, the Turaga would give him something as a reward.
It was such a funny joke too because it plays on the meta of Bionicle. Like every single year, it's just a fetch quest for some random MacGuffin.
Yeah.
And it's...
So
Go ahead.
it was just like in Takua every single time he gets one, he's just like,
Thanks, I guess.
thanks, I guess. Like,
And it worked too because like that happens in Monog. Every time he goes somewhere, he gets something. Oh, this scene worked out really well. Like especially after Liwa, like the music really syncs with their dropping in.
That was really tricky to sync up. I had to speed and slow down some of the footage to make it work.
Oh, and this was annoying to film.
Oh, yeah.
Boy. But yeah,
this was the only scene that was retained from the original Biocraft.
the concept of it, and
Yeah, I mean it was rewritten, but
refilmed. But yeah,
but the idea though was the only thing we kept. I mean, in the original script, we had a scene where like Tahu and Kopaka were singing "Hot and Cold"
I remember
by
that.
Katy Perry.
Yep.
Like in the very first rough draft. Well, that gives you an idea of the quality of that film, by the way.
Oh my god.
I think that the plan was to
we were
partially
like
make it a musical,
12 when we wrote that.
something like that.
More like 13, 14. Either way, we were young and dumb.
We weren't old enough to drive, so
It was a bad idea.
It was
Then your Makuta voice is so good.
it's also much better than when you originally did it back then, because like in the original trailer you can hear it and it's a bit difficult to make out what you're saying, but in this you understand everything. It's enunciated really well, it's bassy, it's gravelly, it's awesome.
Yeah, I basically trained myself to do a really different thing with my throat, where it's kind of like I'm faking a burp, essentially.
Yeah.
But I learned to kind of control it a little bit better, so it's not
Yeah.
like it's not like I'm just choking myself.
So these Rahi scenes were particularly obnoxious to do. First, the Menace. That took possibly the longest time at around 2 hours. Those few seconds of clips that you saw, not these. This was easy, but the ones where they're like being led to the Toa.
Yeah.
That took 2 hours. And then the Kininui fight scene took a lot of time. That's just a bunch of different takes, just kind of cut together. But it was what we had a few people who would be invisible with a spawn egg, and they just fly around spawning mobs around the Kininui, and then the Matoran would just tick off the mobs to get them to come over. And
Right.
that was obnoxious.
So this is one of the trickier scenes for me to compose music for, because most of the tracks, it was like I kind of just pre-made a song I came up with and attached it to a scene. But this is one of the few scenes where I felt like I needed to sync up a vibe of the song to what was going on in the scene.
And you absolutely nailed it. This is like one of my favorite moments in the entire thing.
Yep.
And the music absolutely, like this cue right here.
Oh.
This cue right here makes the scene. It's so good. It's so epic sounding. I love it.
I know, I was so proud of it, man. I would replay this scene over and over to make sure that the timing of the certain cues in the music was right. It was so satisfying. Like, it was a pain, it was a little tedious, but it was so satisfying to put it together.
The music is very strong in this entire final arc, I would say. Like, from this point onwards, it's just everything is perfect.
Yeah.
Like, when Makuta drops down in the moment, that little cue that he gets there as well, also great. I love it. And then it goes from that and transitions into the music from Bionicle Heroes, and it's so perfect. It's so well handled.
Yeah. That part too, like, so much work put into that.
I also love your delivery here.
Well, thank you.
Welcome to it's my favorite part. Or welcome to my lair, yeah. The way you say welcome is just great.
It's really, really good. The Makuta lines are also mostly one takes. Like, they didn't need a whole lot of reworking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
I don't know what it is. Makuta just comes naturally to me.
I actually really like how stupid the mobs are. Because going back to the charm of working with the limitations of Biocraft, you see the Nui Jaga stuck in the tree in the background.
The Nui Copen, yeah, it's just sitting there.
It's so stupid. It shoots one of the Muaka.
This is great. I love that we brought the Tarakawa family back.
They die immediately. Mac is a freaking murderer.
Gosh. Computer, don't make sounds. That's not in the movie, guys. It's just a computer sound that annoys me.
Oh, I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
It might be good. But, yeah.
Oh, this... Okay. We're getting to a really funny part. So, Koki...
I was really impressed with this shot.
This actually, it was surprisingly not as difficult as I thought it'd be. It took a couple of times.
Oh, to catch Akmu running?
Yes.
Yeah, and to hit him with the
that looked
snowball.
really good.
Yeah, I was like, wow, how did you guys must have done that several times to make sure you got him right.
Oh, yeah. Like, I knew what I needed to do, but I didn't know how difficult it would be. And it definitely took a few times. I'm so happy. This is the joke. This is the rule of threes personified. So there's something in comedy where it's the rule of threes. You set up a joke, you remind the audience of the joke, and then the joke pays off. 1, 2, 3. And
you were so obsessed with teaching us that.
Well, I mean, this is
but
where
it works.
pays off.
To your credit, yeah.
Yep. It handedly paid off. Akmu is back. He's the big bad. And it makes sense, too. Because story-wise, Akmu is one of Makuta's lackeys.
Mm-hmm. It was a really good way of adapting that part of the story into this film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much, brother from another brick. We thanked you during the stream, obviously, but he gave us a $2 donation in the chat.
Yeah,
that was so nice.
It was very nice. Watching the reactions to the film live was honestly one of the biggest highlights of making this. Seeing people like get so invested into it. Everybody effing whenever someone died.
Yeah.
People laughing at the jokes. It was great.
Actively commentating on everything that was going on. Like there's like a guy in there commentating on the Akmu scene saying, "Get him!" it's so funny.
It's so fun.
to watch.
Yeah.
This paid off so well.
I love the shot.
There's that sound.
There's the scream. So the direction for that scream is actually really funny. The backstory for that, because Akmu has a really obnoxious laugh that we developed. It's obviously based off of something, but the direction for that laugh was, or for the scream, was to make it sound like you're doing your laugh and then transition into the scream. So it's like
Instead of going, it went, and it worked so well.
I love it. I feel like, you know what? That joke just pays off so well. It brings the Onomatoran into relevance again to make their creepiness really pay off in a satisfying way, and it ends the Akmu arc.
yeah.
Huh.
What happened to Akmu? The world may never know.
Nah,
All
nor
the
do they want
shots
to.
right here are so good with the Toa and
Yeah.
I'm
Makuta
very
in
happy.
the background like that.
I was happy with my
It's-
audio
it
mixing
worked
of the voice
really well.
acting here too, as well.
Yeah,
Everybody's got that nice reverb. Everybody sounds really clean and crystal clear.
yeah, it does sound really good.
The audio in this movie is so much better than what we had originally. Too.
Ah.
Can I just say that? Like,
I mean, you
oh,
can
man.
listen to that trailer, that theatrical trailer. Oh my gosh,
That
the
was it
audio
for
is
everything.
unbearable.
Yeah, no, it is just terrible.
It's like, wow, we are all recording on iPhones, I guess. Like,
Epic Destiny Royale was something I really wanted to keep in this. It was a phrase I came up with, and I thought it really worked out. Okay, so
love
let's
how
see.
everybody caught the Venom reference too that AT came up with.
Yeah, AT added that because we had only recently watched Venom.
When we were doing the table read for the original script and we got to that Venom line, I had copy and pasted the poop emoji.
Everywhere.
All
No, it
over the
wasn't. I only
script.
did it once, and then everybody else started copying and pasting it everywhere too.
Oh man.
Oh, that was funny. And then AT just added that line with the poop emoji there, and I knew what to do.
Briefly, just a moment ago, you saw Greg Farshty, and that was voiced
yeah.
by. He was voiced by Swart, who I always felt had a very Greg-ish sounding voice. And Swart had no idea. Swart's the head of BSO1. He had no idea what the line was for, like at all. I didn't tell him. I just asked, "Hey, can we do this? Can we sit down for a moment, and do this line real quick? What's it for?" You'll find out eventually. And it worked out real well.
Yeah, again, looking at the comments, a lot of people got it. A lot
Yeah.
of people recognized it was Greg.
Yep. And then he went and cut Love out of canon, presumably.
I came up with a suggestion a little too late, unfortunately, in the pipeline, but I think it would have been really funny if you see Greg saying, "Well, that's it. I'm cutting Lev out of the cannon," and then you just see him kind of walk off screen with his sword drawn.
And then you never see Huki or Maku again.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have an idea to incorporate that if we ever did anything else that I really want to use, but it'd be controversial at best.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, controversial at best,
Such good
controversial at
delivery
worst.
from AT right here. Gosh.
Yeah, AAT killed it. Then,
Very good usage of Kapuro's powers. This is one of those things that probably doesn't make a lot of sense unless you really know the character from Bionicle. It is kind of set up. You know, he's the player of racing games. He's speedy and fast, and he does obviously teleport earlier. But it's one of those references that I think really, like, helps.
yeah,
Or you really get the most out of it if you're familiar with the Bionicle lore.
yeah, absolutely.
This is a really cool shot.
This track I probably redid the most.
It sounds so good, though.
It really looked
We did
looked
got
good.
some really awesome shots of the Toa here.
Mm-hmm. I like the very the kind of clever usage of the Toa powers as well. Like earlier, there was that scene where Kopaka fills in the hole, like the archway, with
Mhm.
ice blocks. I thought that was a really really a clever idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Having them do the same here is fun.
It was interesting trying to figure a way to let the Toa have powers. And so Galley was easy with the lava bucket or water bucket. Tahu was originally I wanted another rule of 3 joke in there with Tahu, where first he sees the flint and steel at the beginning, then he has flint and steel to light things on fire, and then at the end he has an enchanted sword with fire aspect on it, so he can light people on fire. But it worked out a lot better how it ended up happening, where he just eventually just got flint and steel, so he could just use that. And I think that worked out much nicer. I think it was your suggestion, Var.
Yeah.
And then yeah, everyone, the blocks. The only one who doesn't really have a block to his name is Liwa, because air is kind of a difficult thing to do.
He just doesn't have powers.
Which
it's kind of funny though, because like every time he tries to do anything,
he doesn't do anything.
Like he's like super.
Works.
He's like super pompous in the film, but he has literally nothing to show for it.
Exactly, like his 2 real big fights with Akmu and with Onua end in sheer unadulterated failure.
He doesn't even have a real block.
Yeah.
This
movie wrote
was
itself at that point.
such a good idea.
Oh,
This idea of involving the server by spamming to
yes.
get Markuta or to get Matthew Nui to rejoin the server was a really good conclusion.
This was the scene. So first of all, listen, guys, I don't encourage spam and bombarding people, but it needed to happen here. I was looking so forward to seeing this come to fruition. For starters, nobody understood why they were just standing in a circle during filming. And secondly, the keyboard sounds are all Kaz. Kaz recorded all the keyboards slamming. And it came out so beautifully. And the chat.
And the
chat joined in.
We got the chat to join in on this part. To all type ban Markuta. And it was great. Such an awesome moment to experience during the live stream.
It really was.
Yeah,
just
I
look at all
loved
that. That
watching
was,
it was so good.
Smile.
And of course, Matthew Nui joins.
This is another one of my favorite jokes in this whole thing. It's about to happen here. Rip.
Gone. Bye. I thought that the whole text thing was going to be a lot harder to do.
The music just cutting back in really.
Okay, Van, you did that so well. That transition was amazing.
One take. One take.
That was
no
also-
effects. That was just my voice.
It's amazing.
We've been granted up powers.
I love his Bohatu. I love Meerkat's Bohatu so much. He's so hype.
He's really good. So now the
Time to take
Toa,
a big ol'-
they have powers, operator powers, which are basically their mods now. So they can
Yeah,
do this
man.
teleportation.
It also means overpowered because at this point they
Indeed.
could use creative mode too.
It's not like there's gonna be a Biocraft 2, so you don't have to worry about that.
Ah, thank
no,
goodness, I'm done.
Biocraft 2 canceled before it even started.
And then there's Takua after recording the scene.
Fun fact, these scenes right here, the close-up of him, were recorded before the Toa versus Makuta fight. So going into it, I was really worried that there was going to be a continuity error. Like you wouldn't see some of the walls. But
Yeah, no, it worked out pretty well.
yeah, it was not an issue. The framing was really good. So there were a few people asking for an after-credit scene teasing the Borak.
Who obviously didn't watch the movie.
This is it.
Yeah.
That is it. They wanted a jump scare. We don't do jump scares. In fact, on the message boards, there's a rule that you're just immediately gone if you post jump scares. And it's like, there it is. That's the Borak teaser. So if we do a Biocraft 2 with Borak,
We're
it's
not, though.
there. This was great, Vin. You did the camera
This
work
shot
here.
was so fun to do. Honestly, a lot of the camera work was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
for this movie. We just
Yeah.
came up with so many creative ideas.
Yeah.
It's so much better than what we had originally. I had no idea what I was doing when I was filming.
Because
before.
I was there.
This scene worked out very well. It was very easy to do.
Once again, Keeney, for one take, able to make the best lines possible.
Yep. Keeney and Takua. Or Keeney and
I
AT.
helped write some of these lines for this scene, and hearing Keeney, perform them was immensely satisfying. I was like, oh wow, okay, cool. So this vindicates my writing. Like,
Yeah, you fleshed this ending bit out quite a bit, and it really worked out.
What is it, Ragavakama?
A little bit of a late illusion that he was banished. It was alluded to earlier, but this is kind of the close resolution. Just beat.
I really liked that the false opening kind of tied into the plot. Like, I know, LJ, you had some reservations about that.
Initially, yeah, but I admit it worked out brilliantly.
Yeah, it's almost like a soft opening to the concept of the film, in a way. It kind of, I don't know, it weirdly fits with the narrative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm glad we have both public. Like, they're separate, but they're both there to watch in the highest quality they can be seen in.
Yeah.
man, every time I get to this scene, when I've rewatched Biocraft after we finished it, however many times.
This
Every
version's
time I
gonna
get
have
to
the
this
original
scene, it makes me
version of
so
Move
happy.
Along, I just realized.
Yeah, I'll have to mute at that point, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise YouTube's gonna be like, "Oh, you can't have this."
That is
Yep,
correct.
unfortunately so.
Yeah.
So these credits that are about to come up was some of my favorite things to work on for this. Vin came up with a great song to go with the credits there. I helped modify it a little bit, flesh it out, and then Zeros
Made me
created visuals, and he did such a good job. I gave him a few suggestions what he could do to improve it and stuff. This was completely a collaborative effort right here, these credits, and it came out beautifully.
Yeah. Zeros, though, my goodness.
Yeah, dude, wow.
Goodness.
We didn't even know, we had no idea the credits were gonna be like this. Zeros just kind of posted
He
stuff.
surprised
in the chat.
us, man.
Yeah, we're like,
He
whoa.
caught us off guard.
Well, he came to me about it, and he was like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And it's like, "All right, let's work on this, and then once we have it to a certain point, let's show everyone." And it's like, it was freaking beautiful. Zeros, I've gotten to know him a lot better since working on this. He's so fantastic. It is a crying shame that he isn't around more and whatnot, but he is sincerely an unbelievably wonderful guy. And these credits just turned out beautifully. Originally, we wanted a very Black Panther credit vibe with them. And I think this part,
Yeah, and then it builds up this nice crescendo.
see, that's I want to see that like in an official Lego production. LJ as Liwa. Come on, like no. This was something that a lot of people suggested Zeros add, the boulder going from Pohatu to Kopaka, and he initially wasn't sure he was going to be able to pull that off, but he did, and it was amazing.
It looks so good. This whole thing, all the transitions.
I had there was a little iffy stuff going on with some of the transitions that I had to fix, because a lot of these were rendered out separately, so I had to compile them and edit them to the music. For instance, Kapura's bit. Initially, it was animated to go backwards, and I didn't want to have to get Zeros to re-render it, because that just seemed like a lot of work. So instead, I went in and hand mapped the text and clipped it out, and then re-added the text after flipping the footage, so that the movement actually worked with the way the camera was moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Obviously, here
so,
we have the song. I am muting it, but you can hear it lyricless, but not for long over on YouTube.
Yeah. Hey, Messo's girlfriend Haley.
MGH.
performed the vocals for this cover, which was awesome. She just did it on a whim, and it sounded amazing. And we wanted to throw it in here. It surprised her, which was great. That was a great moment when we were all watching together and Haley reacted.
Yeah,
was
she
awesome.
didn't actually do the vocals with the intention of putting it in the film. She just did it for fun. We were like, we like it so much, we need to put it in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
the original
YouTube kind of
intention was to put it here.
unfortunately, the YouTube kind of screwed us there, so we had to take it out.
Mm.
One of my favorite little like jokes within these credits. There's a lot of little jokes in the credits, but one of my favorite ones is Mange. He's credited as several different names for each role he has. And
Gosh.
I don't think anyone's gonna even notice it unless they knew Mange, or like all his various names. But like Justin J. Marler, Tenebrae Invictus, Mingekyu and Tachi, like all that stuff. That's all the same person, but he's credited differently each time he shows up.
Yeah. And
It's
so that
so funny.
that was stemmed from so yeah, I asked everyone, because I made these scroll credits, I asked, how do you want to be credited? And most people went the route Ven initially went, which was, name, first name, moniker, last name.
It was a good compromise because, like, on one hand, I really wanted my real name to be here, but on the other hand, everybody knows me by my online name.
Yeah.
So it was a good way to do both.
Envy was the first one who was like, yeah, just give me both. And one of them is Tenebrae Invictus, one of them is Justin Marler. And so I was like, I didn't want to do that, but then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do that even more. And I messed with it for like 3 different ones. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was.
This whole project
very
was
cool.
fun.
It was.
Like I was gonna say earlier, every time I rewatch this, it just like it gives me such a happy feeling. And by the time I get to the ending, I almost want to tear up. It's a good memory now.
Yeah. It honestly, it
Just
amazes
working
me.
on it, making it happen.
Because this happened a year after I was fired from TTV, and I never would have. Well, no, it happened a year after I came back. So if you told me a year ago we were going to make Biocraft, and not only make Biocraft successfully and well, but make Biocraft in the span of like 47 days straight, I would have never believed you.
It's like I'm still blown away just thinking about how much we were able to improve production time over the years. Like, it really is a testament to how being on the YouTube sphere has helped grow our talents, I guess, our skill set in terms of making something like this. Because when we initially started this project and the idea we had back in 2012, back 20 whatever, we were way out of our league.
Yeah.
There was no way we could have made the movie like we have today.
The project got a little too ambitious, and that was what really helped this version of the movie, was that we kind of wanted to check ourselves from being too ambitious, so
Yeah, we scaled back a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We scaled down. We kept Minecraft simple, didn't mod it, didn't
After
do
credit
anything
scene
too
was
crazy.
a good idea here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes.
This was another rule of threes that's kind of sort of set up throughout the film, and it's pertaining to Teipu, like you see him with the TNT, and he mentions to Takua. No, first he mentions to Takua, it's like, hey, I'm gonna set up traps, and then he doesn't let Takua go on the Kini Nui because he set up traps. But Liwa has no idea.
And then Lewa goes on the on the Kini Nui. It's a good little payoff. Another like callback to that voice thing for Mange was in his original interview video, where it says Tenebrae Invictus, voice of Tiri Bomba, Kopik, and Justin J. Marler. And then like in the second one, what does Biocraft mean? Or what does Biocraft mean to you on? It's like Tenebrae, real name Invictus, voice of the Renaissance.
Those videos are a lot of fun to make. That was Envy's idea. He said, hey, let's do this camp. Well, actually, the whole April Fool's concept, Biocraft being, it was Envy's pitch. And because we originally had a different April Fool's joke in mind that I'm not going to say because it's still going to be a thing. And we were working on it at the same time as Biocraft, and Envy thought, this April Fool's concept can be done a lot better with more time. Let's wait. Let's hold it off. Let's finish Biocraft.
And let's just make
that
Biocraft.
joke.
Yeah.
And it was so amazing.
Yeah, because before we had to like spread our resources out between the two, and instead the solution was to just focus on one for now.
Yeah.
So that was a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, well that was Biocraft.
Yeah,
everybody.
man, that was
That's the movie.
Biocraft.
If anyone has any questions, leave them in the comments. We're happy to answer them. We're so happy that it turned out well and people liked it.
We're so happy so many people loved it too. It was great.
Yeah. And it,
Oh,
is it perfect?
recep-
No. Is anything? Also no. It's perfect to us.
This
Yeah.
is definitely my favorite thing that we've ever come out with.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think Meso said if
So-
the group just ended now, it'd be worth it because we made Biocraft.
If Thanos snapped us all away right now,
It's like that's fine. We did what we wanted.
it'd be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is great. A culmination of our hard work, friendship, and dedication all put into this movie. It was great.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for watching.
Yeah. Thank you.
Um,
And
Be sure
again-
to stick around for any more other videos you might want to see.
Yeah.
Got a lot of stuff in the pipeline now. This really kind of reinvigorated our interest in doing more stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
see what happens in the future.
Yeah. And also,
And
we're
hopefully
not,
you two can be a part of it. Hmm.
yeah, we're not gonna confirm or deny or say anything on another Biocraft anything. So for now, just enjoy this.
I mean, I'll deny it.
Thank you, Var. I will not. But
Are you gonna believe me or LJ?
oh no.
Yeah, I'm like the neutral party right here. It's like it could happen, but it's probably not gonna happen. But it probably could happen, but it's not gonna
Biocraft 2, 2030.
Okay, that's it. All right. Well,
Has to be 8 years, Var.
it
20,
needs
28.
many centuries, 7 years to be exact.
All right, bye everybody.
Thanks for
Hope you enjoyed.
Bye,
watching.
everybody.
Bye bye.